All right, it's funny. Now we have this trend that's going around the country about teen takeovers, where teens go over and they'll smash up businesses, they'll eat at restaurants and then run out and smash it. Like they're doing some crazy stuff. And this is happening all over the country.
Chicago is not just a Chicago story. Chicago is a warning label. Because what you're watching here is not just some foolish teenagers acting wild. No. This is what happens when a city, or I should say city leaders, start losing the ability to say no. No to chaos. No to mobs. No to people destroying businesses and then hiding behind the excuse of being young, being bored, being misunderstood. And Los Angeles better pay very, very, very close attention. Because, of course, we already have our own version of this. We already have street takeovers. We already have flash robberies. We already have so-called rideouts. We already have businesses getting destroyed, getting hit. We already have people wondering if downtown LA, if Santa Monica, if Venice Beach is even safe to be walking around in anymore. And every time it happens, have you noticed that politicians like Karen Bass and others, they run to the microphone after the damage is already done? After the videos of the street takeovers and stuff like that go viral, after the public is already fed up and angry. Do you think that's leadership? That's not leadership. That's what I would call cleanup duty. And LA cannot survive on cleanup duty.
Police say 53 people were arrested and 9 weapons were recovered during 2 large teen takeovers this past holiday weekend.
3 teens were shot during those gatherings. 5 officers were hit by a car.
A chaotic and now somewhat consistent part of summer in Chicago includes hundreds of teens gathering at a location, often leading to problems.
Did you hear that phrase? Huh? Somewhat consistent. This is the part that folks should be very, very afraid of, because it's not just one night. It's not just one viral video, not the one crowd that just got out of control. The scariest part is when the city starts adjusting to it, when it becomes normalized. Businesses start closing early. Parents start telling their kids, don't go over there. Police start bracing for the weekend. Residents avoid walking around and enjoying their own city. And after a while, everybody starts treating chaos like weather. Like it's just something that happens. But chaos is not weather. Chaos is permission. Chaos is what fills the space when leadership backs up. When the folks that are supposed to be running the city refuse to draw the line, guess what? The crowd draws it for them. And once the street learns there's no serious consequences, the city is no longer setting the rules. The most reckless people in the crowd, they are.
Do you know why people are doing this?
Because they just bored. Like, they don't got nothing to do. And they just want to have some fun, I guess, on a break.
They're bored. They're bored. Listen, boredom does not make you destroy somebody's business. Boredom does not make you run through a store and tear everything up and steal stuff. Boredom doesn't make you terrorize strangers. Boredom doesn't turn another person's neighborhood into your playground. That's not boredom. That's entitlement with sneakers on. And here's the bigger question. Who taught them there would be no line? Who taught the city? Who taught them that the city would hesitate? Who taught them that if enough people show up at the same time, accountability would just simply disappear? You see, kids test boundaries. Crowds test boundaries. Culture tests boundaries. That is why adults are supposed to exist. That's why leadership is supposed to exist. But when adults in power refuse to draw the line gets drawn by the mob. And that's exactly what Los Angeles needs to understand before it becomes normal here too, which of course it kind of is.
Now, if you ask any reasonable person, they would say this is a mob. But the mayor doesn't want to use that terminology because he believes that by using that type of inflammatory terminology, you're demonizing black children.
As a result of Lollapalooza, we are moving people transitioning people into shelters.
The mayor also reacts to the arrest Sunday evening of more than 40 teens in the South Loop and the looting of a convenience store.
We're not talking about mob actions. I didn't say that.
This is the disease. This is the problem. Folks are getting hurt. Businesses are getting absolutely obliterated. Police overwhelmed. Residents are sitting back, forced to watch their city become unpredictable. And the leader is worried about wording. He's not worried about the victims. He's not worried about the business owner. He's not worried about the family trying to walk through their own neighborhood and they're scared and they're worried. He's worried about the wording. That's how cities lose control. You see, first they stop enforcing standards. Then they stop telling the truth. Then they start protecting the image of the chaos more than the people living under it. And Los Angeles knows this game very, very well. We've seen it with the homelessness. We've seen this with crime. We've seen this with street takeovers. They change the language. They soften the description. They rename the crisis. But the people living in the middle of it know exactly what it is. You can call it whatever you want. But the public, we, the citizens, we know what's going on. And we also know, for some strange reason, nothing significant is being done about it. Now here's where the story gets bigger than just some foolish teenagers acting out. Because at some point, we have to stop pretending that these leaders, so-called leaders, do not know what to do. They know exactly what to do. They know how to lock down a neighborhood, right? They know how to protect a private event, right? They know how to secure one of their favorite donors' mansions. They know how to move police when the right people complain, right? They know how to make sure chaos doesn't show up where powerful people live. They know how to raise money, shake hands, make deals. So when regular people are dealing with takeovers, robberies, smash windows, and fear in their own neighborhoods, and the leaders suddenly act like they're confused, no. That's not confusion. That's selective enforcement. That is the system showing you who gets protected immediately and who gets told to be patient. Let me say this carefully. I'm not saying that every wild teenager is a part of some master plan. I'm not saying that every incident is staged. What I am saying is worse. I'm saying the people in charge, the so-called leaders, they see the pattern. They see the videos. They see the businesses getting hit. They see the public losing confidence. They see police being put in impossible positions. And somehow, nothing substantial changes. So the question becomes obvious. If they could stop it in protected areas, why can't they stop it everywhere else? If they can secure a fundraiser, why can't they secure a shopping center? If they can protect a luxury district, why can't they protect the working class neighborhood? If they can move fast when elites are uncomfortable, why do they move slow when regular citizens are afraid? See, that tells us something. The problem is not ability. The problem is priority.
We're not talking about mob action. They looted a store. People got hurt. People got shot, right? It's a mob. It's a violent mob. But he doesn't want to call them mobs. He doesn't want to call them a mob.
Refer to children as like baby Al Capones is not appropriate.
Johnson is asked if he considers those involved Sunday as children.
I don't know how old all these individuals were.
See, that's how the game works. 1 second, you cannot call them criminals because they're children. The next second, we do not actually know if they even are children. So what are we doing? What are they doing? Are we protecting kids? Or are we protecting the narrative? Because there's a very, very big difference here. Protecting kids means giving them structure, giving them discipline, giving them consequences before they destroy their own future. Protecting the narrative means pretending the problem is not what everybody can clearly see. And that's cruel. It's cruel to the victims. It's cruel to the business owners. It's cruel to the neighborhoods. And it's cruel to the young people too, because when nobody corrects them early, the system corrects them later. And later is always more expensive, more painful, more permanent. While they're policing your vocabulary, who's policing the streets? While they're telling you what words not to use, who is protecting the people taking the damage? You see, that's the trick. They make the citizen feel guilty for noticing what's clearly happening. They make the business owner feel harsh for wanting consequences. They make the parent feel extreme for wanting safe streets. And once they do that, the whole city gets trained to tolerate disorder. Not because people want it, because the people were shamed into silence. This is how the system works. It does not always force you to accept chaos. Sometimes it trains you to explain it. Sometimes it trains you to excuse it. Sometimes it trains you to shut your mouth because you do not want to be called the wrong thing. But see, truth does not become hateful because politicians are comfortable with it. A city either has standards or a city has nothing but slogans. When something keeps happening over and over and over again, and the people in charge have the power to stop it, but they don't stop it, at some point, it's no longer just happening. At some point, you have to realize it's being allowed. And when something is being allowed long enough, it becomes policy without them even writing it. They don't have to say we support chaos. They just have to keep making excuses for it. They don't have to say we're abandoning these neighborhoods. They just have to keep responding late. They don't have to admit this benefits the system. They just have to keep funding the same programs, protecting the same narratives, rewarding the same failures, and asking the public for more patience. But patience is not a public safety strategy. Patience does not rebuild a smashed storefront. Patience does not protect the family walking through downtown LA or walking through any downtown. Patience does not stop a crowd once that crowd realizes nobody serious is coming.
So there's a new TikTok trend. You know, takeovers, going into restaurants, trashing places, meeting up, driving crazy. Listen, that's not going to work in Polk County. There's a whole lot of laws that not only hold juveniles responsible, adults responsible, but parents responsible for your children's conduct, to include juvenile curfews. Now, summer's coming, and we want the kids to have a good time and a fun time. They worked hard in the school this year. We don't want them to start next year with a criminal arrest record. But I'll guarantee you, they start cutting the fool, tearing up people's businesses, fighting in the streets. We're going to lock them up, all of them.
Now listen to the difference. You may like his style. You may not like his style. But the message is very, very clear. Do not bring that here. That matters because chaos listens. The streets listen. The algorithm listen. Kids listen. Parents listen. Criminals listen. Everybody listens. Everybody is watching to see where the line is. And if the city says, we don't want to use harsh language, the line disappears. But if the city says, you destroy property, you get consequences, suddenly the line becomes visible again. This is what Los Angeles is missing. Not another press conference, not another task force, not another soft statement after the damage is already done. LA needs a message that is clear before the chaos begins, not after it goes viral.
Now, where would you rather live? Would you rather live in Chicago where they're allowing these teams to do it and talk about we're going to talk to the community and see? Or would you want someone like Sheriff Grady who says, if you act the fool, we're going to put the full weight of the law and arrest you behind, so don't even come here and try it?
That's the question for the folks in Los Angeles. What kind of city do you want to live in? A city where so-called leaders wait till something becomes embarrassing before they act? Or a city where the line is clear before the chaos even starts? Because Los Angeles is about to be on the world stage. Actually, already is. We got World Cup. We got the Olympics. We're still somewhat booming in tourism. Downtown is developing, is getting built up. Billions of dollars moving through the city. But before LA worries about impressing the world, maybe it should worry about protecting its own people. Not just the tourists. Not just the investors, not just the donors, not just the cameras when the world is watching. Us. Regular people. The people who live here every day. The people who pay taxes here. The people who walk the streets when the press conference is over. Because a world-class city has to be safe for the people who actually live in the world-class city. Los Angeles better wake up and better wake up fast because the city already knows what selective enforcement looks like. You see it in the places they protect. You see it in the places they neglect. You see it in which neighborhoods get fast responses and which neighborhoods get excuses. You see it when politicians suddenly discover urgency because cameras are watching. You even see it when downtown has to be cleaned up for investors, for sports events, tourism, or of course now the Olympics. So do not tell me they don't know how, because they do know how. They just do not move the same way for everybody. And that is the real story. You see, Chicago is the warning. Los Angeles is the test. Are we going to let the leaders explain chaos forever? Or are we finally going to ask the real question? Who benefits when the city stays broken? Listen, this is not about hating the youth. They're the youth. They're kids. They're going to do dumb things. This is not about throwing the kids away. This is about telling the truth before the damage becomes normalized. Young folks need guidance. Yeah, they need opportunity. They need structure. They also need boundaries. And cities need leaders who are not afraid to enforce those boundaries, or leaders who are not incentivized to not enforce those boundaries. Because when so-called leadership refuses to act, chaos doesn't stay small. No, it grows. It learns. It spreads. And eventually, regular citizens, you and me, we start living around the problem instead of living freely in our own city. That's where Chicago is right now. And Los Angeles kind of is too, or at least it's closer than people want to admit. And the other thing is, the scary part is not even really that the leaders don't see it. The scary part is that they do see it, and they still do not do what they already know how to do. So maybe the real question isn't why is this happening? Maybe the real question is, why are they allowing it to happen? And if they are allowing it to happen, then what does this tell us about the system running the city?